I want to go into this engineering program at University of Florida or wherever, I can tell them this is what you have to have in your mathematics. But for the most part, if they're just saying, I want to go into a graduate program in engineering, I don't know which one, I tell them you need to do the full math sequence, and we allow them to do that. But that would never be able to fit into a 128-hour articulated ASCT to BSCT. So what we've done is we've got this kind of alternate path that they can do. And the way that works is after they've taken trigonometry, they can then turn around and take, we have a 2-course sequence, EGN 2045 and EGN 3046, which is Tech Calc 1 and Tech Calc 2. Essentially what we've done is we've flushed out a lot of the theoretical mathematics piece and kept everything that you actually need. Because I don't know, anybody who's ever gone through an engineering program, a lot of the mathematics that you take in all those courses isn't really the math that you apply in your engineering degree. We took everything out and left just the mathematics that you actually have to use, created a technical calculus course that actually applies that in engineering problems. So it's a problem-solving course. Calculus 1, and our science department had no problem with that because they saw that we just showed them the course. Not only that, but let's see, I can tell you there's 5 schools that are state colleges that have recognized EGN 2445 as a valid prerequisite, and UCF is letting our students in Florida Atlantic, and FI Florida Atlantic has been letting them in with EGN 2045. Essentially what you do is you say, here's the topics. They've covered everything they need for PHY 2048, they'll let them in.
So you change the prereq for 2048 for the college?
For the college, for PHY 2048 says EGN 2045 or MAC 2311. The other schools... Yeah, well, 1114 was already a prerequisite anyway, but 1114 is a prereq for 2045. Well, the reason for the star is the star here and the star here is because those actually count towards the gen ed. So the general ed mathematics that the students are going to get here will typically either be MAC 1105 and MAC 1114, which go to the gen ed, so that counts towards those 36 hours, or MAC 1105 and STA 2023. Either way, either MAC 1114 or STA 2023, because you only have 6 hours of gen ed math, one of those two is going to fall into the 24 hours of elective. So, or it's going to fall into the program. So basically those are excess hours. The 2048 will fall into the science requirement. But if a student takes PHY 1053, let's say the program requires PHY 1053, then either PHY 1053 or 2048 is going to fall into that excess also. So, but if you tell a student, get through calculus and take PHY, because I know everybody in ASCT is going to take PHY 2048. If you just tell them right off the bat, if you're planning on going for a BSET or planning on going into an engineering career, skip 1053, get the math, and do 2048. It's going to be better for you in the long run. And if you do physics with calculus, I mean, physics without calculus is, you know, physics light. Yeah.
I can tell you right now, my students aren't going to do that because it's not part of the program plan for their AS degree until financial.
I made them part of the program plans. So the program plan will say PHY 1053 or PHY 2048. It's just very simple to do. I know they don't have that.
For your AS degree, but for ours, there's no room to change that, and they don't have to take a science with a lab as a gen ed.
Well, we actually don't require the lab. That's one of the things is we only need PHY 2048. It's a little tricky.
They don't have to take that. They don't need any type of class like that.
Yeah.
So as part of the general education program. So I'm not saying, I talk about this all the time because I actually tried to get my students to articulate over.
Yeah.
But we talk about that. We talk about how you're going to have to get physics. You're going to. But I also tell them you're going to have to pay for it. because they not part of their program plan, credits,
Then, yeah.
and financially it's not gonna pay.
But we get, I mean, Sam, your guys are coming in with
Yeah,
it.
what
So-
we've done is, we told them, what do you want to do as a career path? You want to go to a 4-year engineering school. My program, we changed mine years ago. I added 6 hours of electives. What I'm doing is in the electives, I added all math that we offer here, including all the calculus, the physics, I added all that in. So I told them, if you're going to take physics, go ahead and start first, as soon as you get your Calc 1 out of the way. My problem with the physics is our college requires them to be in Calc 2 simultaneously with physics. I don't know why.
Which makes no sense because
No,
Calc 1 is what's
your
used.
Your first technical calculus is Calc 1 and 2 kind of combined, isn't it?
Yeah, Calc 1 and Calc 2 are actually
So
in
if
each.
you're Calc 1 and 2, they've got your technical Calc 1 out of the way.
Yeah.
So that's the way I explain it when I go in. I give them six elective hours, so they're taking their college algebra count for my program. Now they're elective, they can take Calc 1, Calc 2, but they're gonna have to pay for one class.
That means we're not gonna have to cut technical credit. They're 24 credits.
I just changed mine around because they're still in there. They're still in the elective. If they want to do that and not go to Ron's program, they want to just be a tech, and that's as far as they want to go. Those courses are in my electives. I have everything in there to complete whatever they want to do. Plus,
So you basically created a track then for the
Right.
students
Yep.
that want to go that way.
And I can tell you,
right, that's kind of what I did by just changing the program around, saying, I don't need, because if I look at mechatronics, 18 hours, but I still had 6 more hours to go, and I said, I'm gonna make those electives. I don't necessarily need a co-op or anyone, because 80% of mine are working.
Right.
Co-op's
And if
not
they're
really
gonna go
doing
there.
anything good, yeah, so this is the track I was trying to move to, so that's how I did.
yeah, and I articulated 5 of his students this last semester, and every single one of them had calculus.
Yeah, I make them take calculus. If they come in with college algebra, they're gonna pick up at least Calc 1 out of the way, but they got those 6 hours back there, and Calc 2.
Yep.
So that's what they're using their electives, so I can use their financial aid.
Yeah, and almost all of yours told me they wanted to be able to keep going.
Yes,
I mean,
I know, I'm pushing them
Yeah.
hard. So.
Yeah, because that's my biggest question is, are you planning on moving on to an engineering graduate program? Because if you are, there's specific courses that you can take, and I'll show you this. This has got a ton of flexibility to get them there.
Physics is a graduation requirement, but not an admissions requirement. If once they're admitted.
Yeah, it's into our program. They can get financial aid if they take it from us.
Yeah, so that's what they do. They don't take it as part of the AS.
They can.
And a lot of them
Yeah. So we don't really have any trouble. The only trouble I've got with physics is the fact that, and what will happen is a student will come to us from your school, but they'll be resident at your school. Our program's online. So we don't have an online physics. So they'll come to us, then they'll then they'll take the physics from you, but as part of our program. So we supply the financial aid. So I really prefer that they get a live physics. Now we are getting online physics, and we had a real issue with that this last semester because we were getting it from Florida. One state college and one university were supplying it, and they both filled up 3 weeks out. Their online physics, and of course our students don't register 3 weeks out; they register 2 days out, and so everything was already full, and we knew it was filling up. And they'd told us that because the schools we were getting them from were telling us. Florida Atlantic was one of them, and was the university, but we always go to them as a second resort. Florida. God, now I'm blanking on it, but we have, but that's the only ones that were offering online PHY 2048. And because we don't require the lab, we only need the physics. They don't have to worry about whether the lab is live or not. They just take the classes and online.
One other thing too is that most of the students I've got transferring in are working individuals. They're a company that pay for the extra class they use within the line program. That's the other side of the coin. You can tell your company that you work for have educational benefits if they're working for somebody. They will help with getting that program. But I don't know any time they wouldn't
Yeah, and,
That's what happens now.
and it's very beneficial to students. The number I'm trying to actually, the number I try to keep as low as possible is this, because this is what counts to those hours that aren't part of everything else. Because, you know, you try to make it either part of the required core, the electives, keep that minimum, and then the gen ed, which is 36 hours. So when you add the numbers together, you want to make that degree fit. Now, the state says if I do a generalized articulation agreement from AS to BS, I have up to 135 because we've already set precedents with the EETs. But you don't want to go to 135. You would like to keep it close to the number. Now, engineering programs, four-year engineering programs are approved to 128. So these are non-articulated programs, but still, 128 is the goal of where you want to be. So, so then you end up, go ahead.
Your math requirement for
The math requirement for our gen ed is 6.
so those 7 hours of that is 1 hour over.
Yep, exactly. And that's what you want to keep down as low as you possibly can. But that's also the reason why we made that alternate math path, so I could actually do an articulation that fits as close as I can. Because EGN 2045 is 4 hours and EGN 3046 is 3, but EGN 3046 fits into the program, and so EGN 2045 is the one that kind of is the one that's over. But it's better to have a 4-hour there than have pre-calc, calc 1, calc 2, calc 3, and differential equations, because that's 20 hours. So basically I'm taking 20 hours and replacing it with 3 or 4. And then this is just putting all the math together and trying to keep this number, this 21, low, but seeing everything I can fit into gen ed, I fit into gen ed. So the program required courses, when you actually look at this, and this is actually lined up on competencies. These are just the courses that we offer to meet the specific competencies. So this is, and this is where we get a lot of great substitution available in here. That's good because it's going to give the students flexibility to go down different ways that they want to go. The bottom line is the students, for a BS program, the students needed to have 48 hours of upper level approved technical credit. So if you look at this, PLCs, if they're coming from an AS program, they won't take this course. A lot of students won't take GEB 3213 because they've had ENC 2210 or ENC 2220. Almost all of them, everybody coming from AS is going to have quality. Now, not every program has PLCs in their core, but some of them have their PLCs in their electives. Materials they should already have, so they end up with statics and dynamics. So if you look at 3311 and 3321, those are courses that are in the engineering core. So students that take this have completed, and that's the issue with becoming a PE. So when you go back to the issue of becoming PE, the issue was that they haven't completed the engineering core, therefore could not take the fundamentals of engineering, which is a test of the engineering core. I can substitute out the entire, because we offer the entire engineering core. I can substitute quality for thermo. They've already had quality from an AS program. So I can pick up the courses that they need. So the engineering core that's built into the program, statics, dynamics, and econ, are all, this is the engineering version, and engineering version. So they get 3 of them, and if you've ever taken the FE, about 1/3 of the FE is engineering economics. So you're pretty well prepared. If you've had dynamics and thermo and econ, you can pass the FE, which is one of the things that's important. So then the EET 3085, of course, they could take EET 1011 or EET 1084 and complete the electrical. We also offer EGN 3373. So if they want to substitute 3373, which is the engineering version that requires the differential equations, they can take that. We offer it once a year and substitute out 3085. So they have a ton of flexibility to get through each of the competencies through different courses. So the biggie is, and also they're normally going to come in with at least measurements and metrology, which gives me another something I can substitute. So the Senior Design 1 and Senior Design 2, and the only piece I have to put into place for which I haven't finished yet, to make this work, is I have to make it work, I need to, because programming is a requirement of the bachelor's level ABET. So right now I was using a lower level programming, but if I use a lower level programming and it's not built into the AS program, places that are doing the AS that will let them do the work, there, they do that. But the bottom line for them is, they have to videotape, I completed this lab.
Right.
I have this up and running. I have one was tricky. I had a student who was on a boat in the Atlantic. So we had to figure out how to get and have it shipped to a DoD intermediary who then brought it to them for them to build a lab, and they were actually on a boat taking a videotape. And then their communications network is only up certain times of the day because they're on a satellite. They had to figure out how to get this video file back to us. We've overcome some weird things. I've got one student in China, that one was tricky. I've got one student in Helsinki, that was tricky. Helsinki wasn't anywhere near as tricky as China. China does not let you just send digital stuff to people. There's a huge firewall. So we ended up mailing drives back and forth because we couldn't send it to them electronically. They can get to our course materials, but anything that's like video is firewall. So that was a problem. So.
Well, help me understand this. You're substituting the AS courses for the 3,000.
Yeah, we substitute these courses out, and you're still going to complete 48 hours of upper level.
So there are other courses somewhere they have to take to meet your 120.
Exactly, and here's what ends up happening. If you look at the other sheet, that's got a list of all these other courses that we offer, but most of the time, that's not actually what happens. They may take, let's say, logistics from us and, another materials course from us. But most of the time, what happens is they're bringing in engineering courses from other institutions. I don't have any students that are what I call clean, like they did an AS perfectly, 60 hours and come to us and then do this. They've always come in with 60 here, and 12 there, and 14 there, and 15 there. So I'm end up patching together all the different things that they've done. But what they do because I always talk to every single student in the program, I have 2 advising sessions that are mandatory, and then they can talk to me anytime. But in those 2 advising sessions, they're like, well, can I get this course? I want to take aerospace biomechanics at a 3,000 level course here. Like, as long as you can get in, will you accept it? And I'll look at it. If it's a technical course, if it's an EGN or an EEL or an EET or an E, or, and some of them are private so the numbers don't match, I'm taking it. Because it helps them meet the objectives of where they're going. So, as designed right here, the program would have 9 hours of electives if you did everything on this list. But the reality is, if they're coming from an AS program, your 9 now becomes 12. If you're taking ENC 2210, it's now 15. If you're taking quality, it's now 18. Okay, you might not be taking electricity, so now it's 21. Okay, in metrology, so now it's 24. So you may have 24 hours of free elective. You got to get the 48 upper.
Yeah.
And if we lower for upper for all of these, then they don't have to take these courses because they've already had a course in it. Now, to get to the 48, they can take other upper level technical courses. And those don't have to be from us. The only thing that I have to have is the residency, which is essentially 15 hours. 25%, so 60 hours. So I have to have 15 from us. And of those 15, the only 2 that I require have to be from us are this one and this one. So a lot of times you get this one from somewhere else, the upper level programming, because that's why I wanted to put that in, because they're getting that from somewhere else. Upper level programming class, upper level technical elective, 3,000 or 4,000 level, I'm taking it.
Unless I want to make easy A, and I take your
Some do that. Some will turn around and take the other course, but they always think of it as being an easy. They may have taken 10, 11, and then think they're going to go in 3085. Well, 1011 is an electronics course, and 3085 is a math course. I can tell you right now, this is Ollie Rodder teaches this, and he loves teaching math. And it's just that people come out and go, that was just a math course. Because he can come with every single combination of a circuit and a transient response, uses a differential equation, some calculus to figure out how to figure out the time response, and he does that over and over again. So they think this is an easy A, and it turns out it's not. But they get a different perspective of the electric. To me,
if they've had the basic exposure to electricity and electronics, can actually understand circuit analysis, that's all we really care about. Okay. Whether they get it from 3085, 1011, or 3373, which is a completely, I mean, 1011 and 3373 aren't even in the same field. They're electronics. 73 is just a course of differential equations. It's really all it is. Here's a diagram, make it an equation and solve it. I know because I took it. So,
Well, what if a student comes to you, 'cause I think you've mentioned this to me, I just want to make sure I'm clear on it, comes to you and wants to use the VSET, wants to focus more on electronics or construction or mechanical, or something like that, how would you set that up with a student?
so what I usually do in those cases is first I figure out the electives that they have. I make sure they've got the core basic things that they need to know. Because to me, they need to know something in all of those fields. They need to know, have at least a course in this. They can't not know any electronics.
Right.
But if they say they're going into construction, well, if they come in with an ASET and they've picked out, now they've got 15 hours of elective that's free, I'm going to go over to the construction courses that we offer. And for me, it's going to be like, they need to take construction estimating. They need to have a course at least in steel and a course in concrete. That's just basic construction. They've got to know those.
Okay.
Then, and I have those courses, I do offer those.
Okay.
I'm also going to look to the libraries of other schools. So if they're planning on going to UCF for graduate or going to University of South Florida for their graduate work, University of South Florida's got a civil engineering program. You don't have construction management, but I think you do have construction as an option within their civil. Okay, I'm going to say, look at what's at USF. Do a transient. If you've got the prerequisites, they're going to probably let you in, unless the course is full or something. And then you've got an exposure of having taken a course in the place that you're planning on going to your graduate program to start with, which gives you kind of a foot in the door, which is a good thing. So, they had a classroom of faculty there. So that's kind of individualized to students, but I'll actually talk to the students and say, where is it you want to go? Most of the time it's UF or UCF, just because of the nature of where we're physically located. But I've seen other ones. Georgia Tech, we put 3 students just at Georgia Tech. And my IT students, I've got a whole bunch of my ITs going to Georgia Tech's computer science program. Georgia Tech has a huge computer science program. But you can kind of see these are the courses from that I just went through people's catalogs and saw ones that met. These are the ones that I commonly substitute out all the time.
On the technology core, you've got 4 of them up there. With the quality, the materials and processes, the electricity, electronics, and the metrology course. So that takes care of 12 of the 16 hours in the technical core. And then the safety course, I see that can be applied on your options for the distance.
Yep.
And then the only one that can't be applied is the CAD.
Yeah, and actually, we're looking at how I'm going to fit that in because they need to have some drawing experience.
Right, I remember back what Lawrence was saying that if our students from St. Pete, transfer and in your program, we want as many hours as we can to get transfers in.
Yep.
And I realize it's not 60, if you're going to take, most of our students take 60 hours to get the AS degree. But then, we got some courses here that are not transferred.
Well, they don't transfer directly. What will happen is I've got, the way the program is 36 hours of gen ed, put that to the side, and then 48 hours of upper level. Okay, this is the actual requirement of the course. 48 hours of upper level. And then that leaves 44 hours of technical lower level.
Right.
So of that 44 hours of technical lower hour, your math, your physics, all that stuff that isn't being used for gen ed is going to have to fit in there. But if you're coming in with an AS degree, I'm going to use the CAD, anything else that you might have in your specialization, that's going to finish out that lower level technical. What I don't want to have is a lot left over.
Right.
So that's, if they come in with 55 hours of lower level technical and I only need 44, then that's 11 extra hours that they ended up taking. It's not a bad thing, but I'm trying to minimize that.
Yeah, that's all I do.
Yeah. And it took a lot of crunching different routes of doing this. And the one thing that came, the big realization was that upper level programming, because I can knock out 6 hours of lower level that typically aren't in those AS programs by putting in one 3-hour course, which actually counts into the 48. so I don't end up taking it from something else.
Uh,
That's why I did that.
Do you know how many state community colleges are requiring students to take the ENC 2210, the writing course?
I get a lot of students with it. I don't know, I've looked at all your curriculums, I looked at every single one of them, and it's very few that require it.
That's right.
But I get a ton of students who have it. I'm not sure why.
Well, I think I'm seeing, I have a little older crowd coming through, and some of them started college years ago, and then either dropped out for whatever reason. Now they're coming back and they realize, you know, ET is what I want to do. And so I know they have other courses out there. I just didn't, yeah, and I know that the ones I sent you had a lot of math and physics out of the way. And, well, this is my last question for you is, I have a student now, I know who's heading your way here the next couple of semesters, and he's one semester away from finishing his nuclear engineering in Florida. Didn't want to do it. Didn't like it, and he thought it was the worst thing he ever saw, so I've talked him into moving to you. How is he going to fit in this program? He's going to have to take some classes with you. He may have to repeat one or two, don't you think? Because he's almost done.
Did he finish the engineering core?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so if he's finished the engineering core, I'm going to use the entirety of the engineering core towards this. Then I'm going to look at those nuclear classes, and
At least I think he did. I'm pretty sure.
it's probably going to be 15 hours for him, because he's probably just going to have to get residency.
That's what I'm asking. So that's the hours, 15 hours, and that probably get you through the degree. Then.
Yeah, I have a lot of it where I'm just like, okay, let's figure out what 15 you're going to take. You've already met everything. I've had a lot of students that are, senior year engineering. Most of them come from Embry, and it's not because they didn't like engineering, but they come from Embry because they ran out of money.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, Embry is $3,200 $3,200 a class. It's about $1,050 per credit hour. So they're about 10 times roughly as expensive as any of the state schools. And when students run out of money, it's really for real. I mean, when you run out of money with one semester to go, it's not like, oh, I just got to come up with a couple thousand more dollars. You're talking $12,000 more dollars, which is a lot harder to do. And financial aid hits them just as bad as it hits us. I mean, a student can't do this wandering around path on a financial aid line forever and then expect to just be able to do it until they get a degree. And then the universities got hit a little bit harder because your rule is actually tighter than the state college's rule on how fast you got to get a student through in your undergraduate education program. They're at basically, I think you're at 110%. We're 150. So you have to get a student through with 110% of the total credit hours of the program. We have to get them through with 150 hours of the credit program. So, I mean, the financial aid rules hit a lot of them. So I get a lot of students that I'm just dealing with because of purely financial aid. They can't do anything else. They need to get through. They're close. They got to figure out how to get them to a degree. And it literally is, we sit down with every single student and figure out how to get them to a degree and say, do this, I'll get signed on.
Have any special track assistance, help, whatever you want to call it, for women that are trying to take this course?
Not anything different than what we do for the men. I'm the one who helps every single student, and I've got a fairly good-sized female population in this program. IT actually has more than this, but IT is the same way. I mean, I actually help every single student do that one too. So I've got 600 students. I have 600 kids right now. Yeah, I've talked to all 600 of them. Yeah.
Does CareerSource provide any funding at the bachelor's level for your students?
Yes, they do. CareerSource, I have, okay, so the CareerSource students, and I don't know how many people have CareerSource students that bring in the weekly thing that certifies that they've actually gone to class. So we have a whole method that they have to come in and turn it in, the professors get it, certified they've done in class. Then they have to actually provide an entire program study. They have to go back to CareerSource, and then we have to actually talk to their CareerSource advisor at least once during their program study. We know that really well. Yeah, so, but they provide funding, so we have those.
Our core courses and technical requirements are self-registered. As long as they meet the prerequisite, students go register themselves. Electives, there has to be permission with the program director. So they cannot register themselves for any elective courses unless they see And when they see me, I ask them, where do you want to go? If they say, I want to go to 4-year degree, then we do have a list as electives. Calculus 1, Calculus 2, statistics, ENC 2210, they're all listed as electives. So I will say, okay, take these as electives.
And this is really just about getting the student to where they want to go. And that's all it is. And it becomes incredibly complex. As you can see, there's a lot of complexity, but the complexity is necessary because not every student wants to do exactly the same thing, and definitely not every student comes in with the same background. And that's the bottom line of the whole thing. So what I've spent a lot of time working on is just trying to get something that made it so that we could do this. So that students could get through with flexibility, go to where they want to go. The graduate programs are the ones that's the most shocking, because I would say it is roughly 1 in 3 wants to go into a graduate engineering program. And I hear the word PE all the time, because they seek us out because we're ABET accredited, because they know that they can continue on to a PE. But then we have to make sure there's a big caveat is that it's not recognized. You have to be able to go through an FE, you have to find a sponsor, and you have to get a waiver.
That's the thing that we need to be real clear on, because
we
I had one student go to City of Ocala, and he called the state and they said there is no physical way with an ET degree you'll ever get a PE. That's what he was told. I said, no, you need to call you and talk to you, because I think we've had people do this. I said, it's just a matter of the city's going to sponsor you to do
You
it.
have to find a sponsor you can push for.
Well, and that's the thing. So what we need to do is, if you have a student who has a PE that's a graduate from your program.
So what I'll do is I'll get some of the ones that I know have gotten that do that.
Well, that's what we need to know, because we need more information, because I'm getting a lot of conflict. I'm sending you all kinds of stuff, because I'm getting all kinds of questions about it, and people say, there's no way you can do that. I think there are students who've done it, but I can't prove it. I don't have a list, so I need to know if we can have somebody they can call and talk to, maybe even about how that works.
And it's also something we may have to revisit at the state level, because there's Robert Hurston was one who was very adamant about not allowing. He was one who was more professional education at the time, and said this is we should do. In all the individual states, there's some states that don't even require an engineering degree.
Right,
to get a
right.
PE. So they're loose in some states, very loose, and then here they're extremely tight. So not really any reasoning why. There's no solid reason to say this student cannot get this. If they're able to pass the FE,
Right.
if they've got them doing the work, they've been working under a PE, and all the requirements make it.
ABET,
Yeah,
everything,
school
yeah.
that's actually been certified, and
Yeah.
maybe it came in, and maybe it comes in, they look at everything you do. You're not gonna just squeak by ABET.
Yeah.
There's no cheat in that system.
Is there any way that we can do something about going to the state board for that, to get that changed or
This is a
something?
petition to the state board, and actually it's usually done through your legislature, so it's a legislative request to go to the state board.
How do we get together and do that? That's what I'm saying.
I did do that. I did actually go after that a while back. I mean, I was looking to try to do it at the time, but I just ran out of time. I'll actually find out. That's something I've got a few other things I gotta do first.
No, I'm not hurrying for it, but what I want to do is I want to make sure if I tell a student you get a PE, I'm telling them accurately.
Yeah.
And I told them they have to have a sponsor, because I remember you saying that they had to be sponsored.
Well, you gotta be
And they gotta get a waiver completed and all these steps, but it's nice to know that there are people who have done it. Because if we do it, then you can go. And some of our teachers, in our system are ET graduates, so, it's nice to know they can get a PE if they wanted to, even for us.
I'm in big support, because really, it's what you're capable of doing that tells what you
Right, exactly, I'm the same way.
And so there's a few things that I've got to do to finish up the whole thing, but it's going to happen. And then, all right, now this is actually in place. So students can get through and they can have, hopefully everybody's got an idea of how to articulate. Students want to come that direction, get your bachelor's, you got it laid out this path. Then I got the other one here. The other thing that I've been working on, well, actually, one of the other things that I'm working on was the additive manufacturing. Do we want to share that with everybody? Yes. Oh, that's
Yes.
okay.
You got time.
I've got, I have handouts. I've got, I think, 11 there. They're big, but it is the framework and the actual proposal and the courses, the new courses that are part of the additive manufacturing. So I know a lot of people are really interested in additive manufacturing. So here it is. And what I'll do is I'll go through the courses. The new courses that we've got are actually marked as new. The numbers are going to end up being the numbers that I put right here because I'm the one who assigns the numbers, so I already know what I'm going to find. It's kind of an advantage right there, right? So we have building on top of manufacturing processes and materials, looking at a new course, which is a survey of all manufacturing processes. What we did when we sat down and said you need to be able to do additive, you need to have an understanding of the entire overview of all the manufacturing processes that occur, not just the basics that we did out of this one. So I'm going to show you that course. Then we were able to get most everything that went into additive manufacturing. This is just one way to do it, into a 2-course sequence, 2371 and 2372, which is really the additive part. Most of that in manufacturing is going to be here in your CAD SolidWorks because printing with a 3D printer is just that, it's printing. There are things you need to know, build volumes, materials, things like that. But the bottom line is your ability to design and then take it to the printer to get it done. So the design is really where the focus is at. And kind of give you an idea of how that whole thing fits together nicely. It's impossible to read. It's on your handout. Can't read it, so I'm not going to try. But that's in the handout that I've got right there. And anybody else who wants this, I got digital copies too. So the first one was a survey of manufacturing processes. This really is a surveying class, not surveying as in, but it is. If you needed to know all the different ways of how things can be manufactured, you know them. And I think most people here that work with manufacturing companies know that you've got casting, but you've got all sorts of types of casting, and you've got molding, and you've got ways to do that, and you've got coating, and you've got machining, and you've got forming, and you've got joints. So how does all that work? And the beauty of this course, for us at least, is that we've got manufacturers in almost every one of these areas. So if I need to take them to a metal forming shop, I literally have one about 3 blocks away from the agency. Or if I need to take them to a machining shop where they do CNC-based machining on the high scale, where we make all the parts of the AR-15 rifles, 3 blocks down the street. So we can actually get them in there. That's one of our goals, is to get them into these companies to see how things are made. So this would be literally the big overview of not the additive, but the subtractive and other types of manufacturing. How is this all done? And the challenge will be, how do you fit all this into a 1 semester course in the level that you want to cover it. But I've got somebody who says they can teach it, so I'm going to trust them and say they can do it. Then the next 2 courses plus the 3 courses, I think I have it here. SME came out with a BOK, a body of knowledge, necessary for their certification in additive manufacturing. So what we did is we took the BOK, took everything in that BOK and a red pen and a highlighter and a course, and we figured out how everything could fit into the program somewhere. And then what we did is to fit the stuff that was specific to the additive manufacturing process and the materials associated, we made 2 courses, 2-course sequence that fit everything else. Some of it is in the SolidWorks and the other courses. Some of it was in the BOK, by the way, that SME came out with. And you can actually look it up. It's Society of Manufacturing Engineers has a BOK on additive manufacturing, and they have a certification that they've actually got running right now in a test. And the materials in the book and everything. So a lot of the stuff that was in that last course was also in that BOK. They made sure that you also understood the other manufacturing processes before you actually started into additive manufacturing. So 2371 and 2372, I've got, everybody's welcome to copies of this. I'm getting ready to take these up. I'm going to get them prepared. Do one last review with all the faculty, and then take them up to our course. These aren't actually done through our review yet.
So if you're doing 3D modeling, does it have to be SolidWorks with some, I mean, I know we do SolidWorks, they got it, so you got
That's what we have.
SolidWorks 2, SolidWorks, can we do like something else?
Yeah.
Change the name a little bit off SolidWorks, or define it, there can be any type of 3D CAD type of,
Because we teach them better.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
you
see, that's
can
what
do
I'm
it
thinking.
different, because this is CAD, this is SolidWorks, you can use anything there, as far as.
yeah, I just want to be real specific, because some people use Creo and
Pro
Yeah.
different things, yeah.
That's not what,
Did you put through these courses with the name SolidWorks, SolidWorks?
these are all, yeah, these are already, these are courses we already
Instead
have.
of saying SolidWorks, solid modeling, just take works out of it.
Yeah, you can do solid modeling, that way I could actually, if I had to change this, see, we'd be kind of messed up here, if we had to change our software, we'd have to go ahead and make new courses.
Yeah.
But change
But
that.
But just make it solid modeling instead of SolidWorks,
So
and then
20
solid modeling
23
too.
Yeah, 2364 and 2368, I don't believe has the word SolidWorks.
No, it's just a modeling course.
That's right.
So it already is there.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that, all right.
This is what we have in our catalog, this is just straight out of the catalog for us.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
gotcha.
I think when those courses were made, they had worked out a deal with SolidWorks and 2 SolidWorks courses, but it's, the material that's in there is not specific to SolidWorks.
So this will be a brand new specialization. Is it gonna be under ET, it'll be his own.
ASCT
area.
specialization.
The special thing.
Let me just ask a question. So we have a specialization in digital design,
Yes.
manufacturing, sorry. So why didn't you just use that one with the spin that you would just focus on additive manufacturing? Why did you feel like you needed a separate one?
Because I'm trying to meet the SME BOK, and the SME BOK had stuff that didn't cross over with that. I wanted to do it pretty soon. I want students to be able to take that certification after finishing this ASCT, finishing this program.
I think this one in the frameworks, Laura has more, about the manufacturing part.
Uh-huh.
In your framework says that digital design one, you're not the only one that offers it, of course, but has a lot more, the design and software and modeling piece. So this actually has, the frameworks have more of the kind of post-processing and some other technology tools that probably weren't even around when we wrote the original framework.
We have quite a bit, 2372 has a lot of other options.
I sent these files to Greg yesterday, actually, and asked him to take a look at them.
Well, I'll tell him to read.
I should probably text him as well, right?
That's probably not a bad idea.
And the last one is the, you actually can see I'm not done. I've got some topics that I got to flesh out, but the product testing and quality control was the other piece that was, that's what we wanted to actually is the structured testing, and have students know how to do that. So we're actually getting the toys that I used to have as a mechanical engineer, which is always a lot of my favorite ones of all. You know, you have to take things apart, smash them.
Right.
And then, you know, you do it with if you break stuff, then you just break. So if you break stuff and you've got sensors on it, then you can get data, and then you take the data and analyze it in engineering.
Wait, Ron, I got a question.
And you can get your PE.
Exactly.
The body of knowledge from the SME, I'm surprised you don't have a portion of IDP.
I was able to fit, everything that was in that piece, I was able to fit into the rest of the pieces of the program. So, and actually, I have the cross reference. I actually made a cross walk between
Right.
and us, where everything is.
Okay, but then the other thing, I see this EGN, that's an old number,
All right,
of 1111C, engineering, drawing, and lab.
we offer that, that's why.
Now,
That's CAD.
yeah, oh, okay, all right, because it doesn't say that.
No, mine doesn't either, but I put in mine on it.
That's all CAD.
Yeah.
Because, the,
And EGN 1111 is prerequisite for EPD 2264.
well, the
You're gonna
engineering,
take that off.
no, well, I just gonna say engineering, drawing, and tracking.
So this is actually done in.
Yeah.
It is not done on Dr. Board, though. We actually have a CAD lab.
Mine says engineering graphics on mine.
Yeah, the engineering?
1111.
Right, okay, because what got me was engineering, because you got all the CAD 1 as far as program 4. The technical program,
Yeah, this is actually, this is the second course.
this is,
But you know what? If I need room to put something in, oh, yeah.
Because, it just looks funny having a specialization called engineering drawing, not the term engineering drawing, it's an industrial drawing,
Yep.
you know. I just,
We changed the name of that course.
I think that might be best.
Yeah. And sometimes my place,
But we have the power to do that. You have the power.
I have power to do it. I can do that at the state level. It's easier to do it at the state level than it is for you to do it at college.
Exactly. There you go.
Because I have a curriculum committee that does all the review, is me.
That's right.
So I'm like, okay, does this look like a good idea? If I have a question, I'm gonna call up one of you guys and say, you know, who likes it, who doesn't like it. When I'm at school, it's like everybody from the English department has to ask you 10 questions on everything you do.
Oh, yeah. This is real pain.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
But they have no idea what you're talking about, they just don't want to know. This was, that manufacturing foundation was actually what I started with. And then the other piece was this, which I know, everybody loves these, because we asked about having a new framework. So of course that means you gotta start working on a new framework. And full speed reading. There we go. So I've obviously left in blanks because we're going to review the framework. So Carolyn's helping with that.
Yeah,
Right.
we had a little delay because of our friends last week.
But yeah, we're going to try to get an actual solid framework in place. And again, the framework itself is really just a cross-reference that I did. I mean, I made this completely by cross-referencing the VOK that on additive manufacturing. That really provided a great guide to work off of. So, VOK, I'm like, why is, if you look at that,
Yeah.
why is this here? Why do they need to know this type of stuff? There's some things in there that just look like there were some vested stakeholders in some areas that weren't gonna let their stuff go.
Yeah. That's not good one.
And I'm looking at like, this doesn't need to be. It was there.
Not sure it's
Yeah, there's a territory.
My stuff is really important.
And then we got, there's the one we got to work on 17 and 18. I just left it there in case that we added more stuff that we had a place to put it in and redo the document. But
It has to
everybody's got a copy of
be,
this.
you know, covered in the courses that you use to.
It is in my course right now, what I got in the framework is completely covered in my courses right now. So
Is everything in your courses in the framework now?
So now, well, another thing is to make sure that the VOK completely covers it. Not with the framework, call it the VOK, because we're going to match up with the national standard.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to end up being the national standard.
Yeah, I think so.
And it does have its own now certification, which is going through the approval process, and we're going to push that up to the CAPE list. Everybody wants to get their students to do it, it's going to be there. It's just, everybody knows that. That process is not hard. If you petition a technical course on the CAPE, a technical certification on the CAPE list, you're almost 99.9% chance of getting it on. So that's not really a problem. And now this is an easy sell too, because we've got people, our manufacturers are saying we need people who really know how to do this. That can, and I actually, on a personal level, there's a company that I consulted for, which was GRD Engineering, that makes knee braces. And their typical manufacturing process was they have a piece of metal and they have a piece of plastic, and they had to do a cast and die to get the whole thing to work. And they were redesigning the brace. And they came to me and we figured it out. And they go, well, what does it cost to print this out? And I worked through it, and I'm like, okay, so after everything is said and done, you offset the cost of the printer and everything, it's gonna cost you about $27, $28 per brace. Now remember, they sell the braces for about $1,100. So you're looking at $28 a brace. And they're going, okay, wait, if we make a new mold, and we do this, and they only make like 2 of these a day. Not like they're chunking out tons of them. They figured it out, and they're like, we're just gonna go out and buy a bunch of 3D printers. So their entire manufacturing shop, which was before done one way, is now done on-site. They used to have to do it off-site. Now it's done actually at their corporate headquarters. They have a room, they put in 5 3D printers, and they just print the braces. And now, the new thing they'll do is they'll do a custom scan of your knee and make the bracelet fit, because they can actually now modify each brace is custom made to each individual customer. That all happened over the summer. It's literally over the summer, this entire company changed the entire way that they're doing their knee braces. And now, they scan your knee now, they do like 5 measurements on your knee, custom make the brace, and can have it for you by the next day.
So what's the current price?
They didn't change the price of the brace. Their cost per brace went down by, their cost per brace was completely down to about 125. So they completely halved the cost of each brace. And they're actually going to take the entire process to FDA approval. They made the change. So they're actually doing the FDA approval on the process because they want to do it this way. So the FDA will approve being able to make knee braces out of printed parts because the materials are different. Yeah, that's what it is.
Ron, one other question.
Sure.
With any new specialization, may require additional equipment by those folks that want to get into this.
Equipment, yes. If you, okay, so we put in an appropriation for $300,000 for the equipment. And it was actually $311,350. If you ever see the appropriations, if your university college always puts in appropriations, it's usually, I need $1 million to do that, $2 million to do that. They use big round numbers. We didn't use big round numbers. I was down to a penny. We put it in, approved. Just completely. Usually, you ask for $1 million, they give you $500,000.
Right.
We asked for $311,000, and we got exactly what they asked for. So we put out, we had to do an RFP because the state said you had to do an RFP. So we spec'd out the printers, and spec'd out printers by build size, materials capability, speed, price of cost of materials. So we basically spec'd out. And that was sent. We got a lot of responses. All of the responses were our vendors. But I know that if you need to do that, we've already done a lot of footwork. So anybody needs to go out and do that type of spec buying, I'm happy to send that RFP to everybody and even show you, what we were supposed to sit down last week and go through it. And the way the RFP read, we had a bunch of printers on the RFP. Any vendor could bid on one, multiple, or the entire thing. Nobody bid on the entire package. Everybody bid on just like this or that. And so we hope to have our decisions made and get, and then the one that I'm most excited about is we're going to be buying one large platform 3D printer. That large platform is a 2 meter by 3 meter build platform, so you can build really big stuff. So I want to be able to build like large things. First thing, the material's going to cost you on the leg, but I hope to have that one in soon. So, yeah. For the brace, right? Yeah, well, not for the brace. Well, it was funny because he looked at the cost of that, and they literally went out, got with me, spec'd out printers, went out and bought 5 printers. 2 days later, they had them operational, and were building knee braces the next. So in the 1 week span of time, they were building knee braces. That was after coming and doing it with, doing it with me one time, going, okay, let's just see what we can do. So,
Ron, quickly about printers, what else?
Some testing machines, some testing equipment. And then I'm not involved in this project, but we have a Tech Path project for doing MSSC certification, and they just put in their laboratory. That was Cheryl Weems who was responsible for that one. I haven't been in them. They haven't finished building the lab yet, but we're admitting students into it now. And we're supposed to be admitting 60 students to go through this entire thing, and it's a 6-month. Students get paid. It's an NSF grant type of thing. Well, it's not NSF, but it's a DOL. Yeah, so they're going to be pushing students. Tech hire. Yeah, you know about it, right?
Yeah.
So you probably know a lot more than I know. And the office is right next to mine. So.
I just wanted what equipment for this program. So the printer.
This one I'm going to have.
The testing. Did you get a scanner?
Oh yeah, we got scanners. Yep.
Trying to
scanners, testing equipment. I'm gonna have, but my fund is testing equipment.
Yeah.
So, we have a rotating bed scanner. That's one of the things is that it can actually do, because you specify scans by resolution. You don't want to get the specific resolutions to do a rotating bed scanner, to get, because you gotta get things done. But we didn't buy something like a handheld base scanner. That was all just given to me. We need the students to be able to do real stuff. All right, that's all my stuff. I brought you lunch. All right, here you go. You have your, any other questions?
Yeah, any more questions for Ron before we take a quick break here? If you come in late and have not signed in, I need you guys out front where you walk in the place. There's a place to sign your name. If you don't see your name on there, just sign in the blanks on the side. There's 3 sheets out there. So anybody who's not signed in, please sign in. Take about 10 minutes in the restroom, come back in. Yeah, we're gonna do it here. We're gonna do based on the agenda. Right, we're gonna do the economics. So just bring your food in here. Let's grab it at 12, and then we'll go ahead and get started with the economic and workforce roundtable. Thank you.
Right now, I got, I couldn't name any guys. Nobody else would be. So I don't, I've got to read you back. I'm already looking at it.
So let me, while you're all here, and some people have to leave at lunchtime, we brought some manufacturing day posters if anybody wants them. There's quite a pile here. A bunch of rubber bands, roll them up. Don't forget manufacturing day next week or the week after. I'll get some tomorrow.
I'll get some tomorrow.
I know our manufacturing expo. No, it's next week. Yeah. All right, so let's go. Next week, VMA expo. VMA is a local. The other guys are coming. I see. They're also, they get, we do a golf set. I buy lots of
Scott has
Yeah, okay, but I'll make sure Greg brings Yeah. Yeah. I almost think it's we already, yeah, we.
They're running the atmosphere.
That's a lot of
You get more opportunity to do other things with them. Yeah. Right.
They have to know, going to a place like manufacturing, they start talking.
Yeah, because once again, you know what you're telling us. Oh, yeah. It's like I do. It always wants to take this thing. Oh, no. This is the way we're going. Yeah. By the way, the silver spoon. I just texted.
He works right there.
How's the farm? Farm's great. Run any vehicles or fields down or anything?
Of course,
Are you?
So anything can happen.
Send video this time.
That was a mess that year.
Did you go on anything else besides?
We did mine too. Mom harvests pound straw every year off of it. God pays her to come out and make it.
Oh, nice. So you don't use it for wood, you're not cutting it down there?
We just have them thin, but. Another 15 years I'll be able to harvest probably 80 acres.
Yeah, we got a nice car out here. I think you're gonna take off and ride it with us.
There's 100 acres in Longmeadow. I'll be lucky if I ever see those. They take so long to grow. And there's 80 acres in Slash. And it's a Slash.
Okay, you can have a station.
My hay feels get a lot of attention, energy spray, intended to, but I probably get 30, 40 bales a year off of it.
How much land is that?
Hey, that's 15 acres of grass cut.
A big SUV, 3 seats, because.
Yeah, I don't fertilize, but I need to.
Maybe you do it all yourself.
It's enough for our 3 horses, but eventually I want to finish the whole place in and do cows.
Wait a minute, you're driving this, you're like 25 miles to work and back.
The state of Georgia will help you with that.
I traded my Challenger in.
I step into that. It's a pain in the butt.
You got a nice car, it's fully loaded.
It's almost easy to do myself.
So I have a freestyle station wagon, Ford, and I have an F-150 truck, but they're both beat up all over. I drove the freestyle, this looks decent. Truck I don't even bother.
You need one feet around car, that's what you got.
Yeah, that's the truck.
Yeah, I've got a couple extras.
Oh, great. Plus cows be a good tax write-off.
Yeah, I rented from a guy when I was on the Southern Tech.
I got a place.
I rented from a guy up in Taylor's.
I think
I'm not gonna do it right now, but I'm gonna.
He had 150 acres at the first, sold the pine trees. Sold them paid for it. Then he did the stumper, which was pretty extensive. And then the state of Georgia came in, and because of runoff and erosion, they planted this field. Yeah. Yeah, I guess Georgia has a construction, like roads, bridges, called Matthews. And Matthews is, I guess basically it's clay property, it was adjacent to this guy's property. But it would have only been for a certain amount of time, and then the eventually started. When he convinced Matthews to build him a lake, down below his Matthews lake, and he did. I mean, the construction guy.